Hello everyone, welcome back. It's Mel here from the Center for Healing. In this video today, we're going to talk about what does it mean to be conscious, to become conscious. Before we start, please make sure you hit subscribe below and click the little alarm sign to make sure that you get notified when our next video comes out. So yes, let's talk about it. What does it mean to become conscious? Probably won't find yourself looking up this video unless A, you have become conscious and you're wondering what is going on, or B, someone has told you that they have awakened or become conscious and you don't know what the hell they're talking about, and maybe part of you is like, I want some of that. So let's get into it. So basically, what does it mean to become conscious? My description is that you become conscious of your subconscious and unconscious mind, and you kind of have this moment of feeling connected to everything and everyone. And it's like it's usually a really defining moment. Like, people usually do not forget this moment that they have, and it's kind of like being in one world and then all of a sudden being in another world, and it's like you can never go back. And look, it definitely has its pros and cons, and I will go into that, but basically that's my explanation. So you could kind of think of it as like this enlightenment, oneness, spiritual moment. And if you speak to anyone that is like conscious and awakened, they probably explain it kind of similar to that. And so, I'm using like conscious and awakened like intermittently, like together, because that's really what it is. It's the awakening to becoming conscious, the awakening, the realization that you are not just a physical body. You are not just the outcome of, a single cell like organism from millions of years ago, and you're just like another animal, on the planet, and you are not just what you see. Okay, you have this realization that, wow, I am much more than this, and we are all connected. And perhaps you might even realize in that, or maybe later, that this isn't just the only life that we have either. So, and it depends who's watching this. You might feel a little bit funny. Before I awakened, I was an atheist. I mean, I went to a Catholic primary school and high school. My grandmother was a Buddhist. My father was a Freemason. Like, there was like religion all around me, and I just got to the point where I'm like, I don't feel any of this, and all I trust is science, and we're just physical. We're just like, this is it, and what I can see and scientific results, that's it. That was me until I had a kind of initial awakening of like, my initial awakening was becoming conscious of my unconscious mind, or my subconscious. I went from being like a unconscious automatic robot, just reacting to my emotions and the world, to, oh my God, we have a whole other part of our being that is playing out and attracting things into my life and causing these thoughts, and I am not my thoughts, And colors all of a sudden looked brighter. Like, I walked down my same street, and this is what I hear from clients a lot, hey, I'm driving down the same road that I always drive down, and for some reason, everything is like much brighter. So that was my initial awakening, was just becoming conscious of my subconscious and unconscious mind. And then I kind of had another awakening when I started to do some really deep spiritual energy inner child work. That was like, that was awful, actually. But the other side of it was amazing. So, I had like a dark night of the soul. You can kind of look that up if you don't know what that is. And it was just all this heavy shit that I've been holding onto my whole life. just all came up and I felt sick and depressed and everything for like 3 days straight. And then the other side of that was like beautiful, and I had detoxed a lot. And so that was like me realizing that, oh my God, like this spiritual stuff is crazy. Like I remember my healer like being in my lounge and with me, like holding my hands, and we just shut our eyes. All of a sudden the lights are flickering, my TV turned on by itself, like, you know, like, and I just had this crazy experience, and I was like, okay, there's definitely something more here. There is like way more than I, you know, have really understood to be. So that was like massive for me. And then obviously ever since I've been on this huge journey, and I'm, you know, still healing and trying to be as conscious as I can in each moment. You know, sometimes my ego will take over. I'm still, you know, 5-6 years later, peeling back and finding so many layers, you know. So the next part, I guess, is like, how can someone become conscious? If you're watching this and you're like, yeah, my friend said it was like life-changing and they're like so different now and they're so much happier and blah, blah, blah. How do I have this awakening? It can happen in a few ways. So, and they're not guaranteed, by the way. I'm not saying like you do this, you will become awakened. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is just a few examples of how I have known people to wake up. So you can have near-death experiences where they actually experience their soul like coming up out of their body and looking down at themselves. So that can happen. Another way is like through healing work. So like with what we do, I mean, one of our goals was to, I guess a part of our legacy and our purpose is to wake as many people up as we can. So only if they choose to, if they're ready for that, is through doing healing work. So with healing work, we're doing shadow work. We're helping people dive into their subconscious, understanding why they are the way that they are, and really just awakening through that, and that's how I initially woke up. And then the third way is just completely spontaneous. So yeah, it could be, you know, from taking drugs and stuff, which I do not recommend because that's really unsafe, especially if you don't have someone with you that knows how to help you process that, or it might be mistaken as psychosis or whatever. I mean, there are plant medicines, but since doing this kind of work, I know that you can access that stuff yourself without taking substances. So there's that, or there's like just completely spontaneous, you know, like hitting complete rock bottom, you know, being like becoming homeless all of a sudden, or losing everyone, and just being in the space of like the universe is like telling you to look within, like it's gonna take everything away from you until you actually realize that you need to turn within and just let go, and just kind of to let your soul finally come in, to remember who you really are, right? So that can kind of happen, or just completely spontaneously. If that happens, like for you, that's fine. I mean, with healing work, I always say to people, you know, when they do wake up, or when my students help people wake up, I kind of say to them, I'm sorry and you're welcome, because it's huge. It's like a massive thing to happen. It's an amazing thing to happen, but all of a sudden you are completely responsible for your life, where obviously if you're always a victim and blaming others and outside circumstances, then that's easier short term. That's easier to just blame everyone else. And some people do that for their whole lives until they die. So, you know, and being conscious, coming from a space of I affect everyone and everyone affects me, and having empathy and thinking about others before you take actions, and knowing how it can affect others. All of a sudden, like, I mean, these are some of the benefits. All of a sudden, like having a very sharp mind, no brain fog, having great memory, like that completely changed for me. I went from like being in brain fog, I feel like, until I woke up. Like, honestly, I don't know how I survived. And my memory was shocking. I was shocking at learning. Once I woke up, boom, like I'm like a learning machine. I still, like, my memory is on point. My mind is so clear. And and I was like the shyest, most quietest person unless I was taking something. But now I'm like, obviously I'm here, I'm talking to you guys. So yeah, I don't know if I've gone off track there, but the next side I really wanted to talk to you about is like, what happens is you initially get this breakthrough, right? You break through this veil that's around you, like the layers of conditioning, the pain that's happened, the walls that you built over your heart. You get this taste of like this freedom, this peacefulness, this beauty, this like, it's really hard to explain it, right? But basically you get a taste of that. And then what can happen is, whether it's days, months, weeks, whatever, years later, it feels like almost like the layers have come back, or like that the dullness has come back. But I just need you to know that there are so many layers. Like, we are so complex. Like I said, I've been constantly doing healing work for like 5 or 6 years, and I'm still finding stuff. I'm just trying to like enjoy the in-between moments of like bliss. But yeah, it can kind of feel like people are like, oh my God, like I felt so amazing, connected to everything. And then life got in the way and I got stressed again. And I feel like I've lost that. I've disconnected from my soul. I'm feeling depressed. Like, but that moment was so amazing. Like, how do I get back to that? But that is like the best drug ever. Like, normally when someone takes drugs, they're like, oh my God, I feel amazing. And then their brain will like automatically go back to that, and they'll want to use again. Like, it'll automatically go, how do I feel better? And your subconscious goes this, and then you go take the drug or whatever, or you constantly think about it even if you're not taking it. That's still an addiction, by the way. So, that moment of you like being connected with your soul, and being connected to like the universe, it is like massive and amazing. But like I said, it's like a drug. So it's like, I'm going to keep doing this work because I want to feel like that again. I want to feel that amazing feeling that I felt when I first woke up. And I think it's like designed that way, because otherwise we wouldn't keep working on our shit. We wouldn't be serving the world. We wouldn't continue our development. Growth is ongoing. Like, you don't just get to the point you're like, yep, I'm done. Like, I recommend not going too hard, like stretch it out. But yeah, it's like, I think it's designed to be so amazing that you kind of keep chasing that. But like I said, like, enjoy the moments in between and love yourself, even if you feel like, I've still got so much stuff. It doesn't matter. Like, you are on the other side, and it's beautiful. If you are like, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about, woman. Like, I want to get this, I think, yeah, like I've explained the ways that it can happen, but all I can say is like, to do it, to get to the light, you need to jump into the darkness. And then I also want to speak to the people that you're like, this is crap. Like, I don't want to do it. It sounds like woo-woo and weird. That's fine. I actually spoke to my dad on the other side through a medium, because he passed away recently. And I knew that it happened. Like, when people die, their soul goes up. They go through this healing process anyway. So you're going to go through it anyway, whether it's now or like in 80 years or 50 years, whatever. Personally, I'd like to do the work now, and I find it like amazing. We can find heaven on earth, if we start to do the work now. So yeah, that's all I wanted to share with you guys today. Thank you so much for joining me. And also, I just want to remind you guys, if you want to hit subscribe. Also, I've got some links below where if you want to go on the journey, you can contact one of our qualified practitioners. I've got the link below. Or if you want to do this as a job full-time, make a great income, be able to do it online, then you can join my practitioner training, where I take you through step by step of what we do to help people heal all their stuff, their limitations, their self-imposed limitations, and be able to help people as a job. So I'll help people wake up as well. So I want to say thank you so much for joining me today. Make sure you hit subscribe, don't forget, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.